if the current financial crisis, which erupted in the fall of 2008, like I said, is a most serious one, starting from the Great Depression of the 20s of the previous century, this one was softened thanks to the role played by the developing countries, emerging economies, which allowed us to make the recession of the year 2009 3 times softer, and recovery of 2010 being more intensive in speed. Therefore, 5 sectors are very important in this regard in order to restore economic trust and avoid the crisis of such a scale which we have gone through. That's the financial system in the first place. We should serve to the real sectors of economy, which implies transparency, better order of things, and oversight and control as well. Also, it is necessary to see to it that the international transactions be taxed. Second, that balance of payment. It is necessary to readdress the global disbalances and disparities. The surplus countries in their balances of payment should promote growth of their domestic demand. In turn, that would result in improvement of the trade saldo and will limit generation of foreign surpluses additionally in the developing countries.
The economic growth should be comprehensive in its nature. And for that purpose, there is a need to successfully complete the Doha round in 2011. And in this particular case, there is a need to move forward along the way of commercial relationships, which should be more comprehensive, more transparent, and without doubt, Russia is called upon to play a greater role here. And we need to rely upon the agreements on partnership and cooperation between the EC and Russia. And the developing countries, or the countries with emerging economies, should also continue to support this process in order to achieve the Millennium Goals. Fourthly, sustainable energy model. This is an inextricable factor of economic growth, and consequently, there is a need to move in the future in as far as the multilateral cooperation is concerned in such areas as energy efficiency, the development of the renewables, and at the same time we need to guarantee to our consumers a faultless and continued supplies of energy. For the EC, it is vitally important to continue to consolidate cooperation between Russia and Europe in the energy sector. And finally, the 5th point, education and innovation. Competitiveness is something that many economies require, comprehensive economies, complex economies. Competitiveness is possible only when we put our bets upon education and innovation. The lesson that we learned, what is it? The economies shouldn't be growing only on the basis of loans. It is important to be able to grow upon productivity gains, upon the kind of forces that every country has in terms of its resources. And the second fundamental idea, cooperation. Cooperation between the countries, regional organizations, and between the leaders of the world. The world has to be an open structure. It must not be a closed one. The economies of our countries should be interdependent. They must not be autocratic ones.
Everything, in the matter of fact, is more and more increasingly interlinked. Extreme poverty, climate change, and terrorism have no respect for national borders. Global challenges call for the global responses. Otherwise, we don't see a very happy future. We have seen already very often so-called jobless growth, the growth without new jobs. And this is one of the challenges we have to solve. So I think so that we are working very, very hard in order to make globalization more human, more increasing the welfare of the people. And in that way, we think our citizens are this resource we want to invest the most. In the international financial crisis, the latest ones has emphasized the role of also the emerging economies, particularly so-called BRICS countries, as global actors. Overall, the rise of emerging economies has brought millions of the people out of poverty, and this is a very, very fine achievement. At the same time, greater prosperity and good economic growth means that these countries have to take more responsibility for global solutions. Our aim is to create a vision based on 3 dimensions of the sustainable development: economically, ecologically, and socially sustainable development.
The global financial crisis has led to deep economic cracks. We are trying to fill those cracks with money through various and increasing anti-crisis packages that are supported by cheap money that is printed. However, these cracks in the monolith of world economy do not disappear. They become concealed. The revival of the global economy doesn't testify to its sustainable restoration. There are a lot of risks associated with uneven economic development. Speculative capital continues to be inflated. There is no rational balance between financial sector and real economy. All of this testifies to the need to undertake dynamic and effective measures in order to reform global financial architecture as fast as possible. And here we should get down to real business. The answer to the key question of our plenary session, how to avoid crisis in the future, is quite simple and short. We need to quickly and in a coordinated way to change the ineffective foreign exchange and financial architecture. Global challenges tell us that we need to abandon commodity dependency. We need to transition to sustainable and innovations-based development. We understand that human capital is the foundation of sustainable economic growth and the main driving force of innovations. Each country separately is not going to cope with global challenges and guarantee further development without new economic shocks. Therefore, Kazakhstan has always supported integrational processes within the framework of the CIS, Eurosec, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and other associations. It is quite evident now that it is strategically important for us to accede to the WTO.
There is no crisis of euro as currency. Euro is a strong currency. There is a crisis of debts of certain countries of the Eurozone, though. And those Eurozone countries take upon themselves this obligation to get out of this crisis. This is our duty, and we'll follow through.
The whole European Union is a political animal. It's a political organization. We have promised to give the solidarity, and we know that together we are strong. Not even the strongest EU country, Germany or France, is not a big economy in global sense. So we need each other. It's not just on charity and solidarity. We need this.
We believe in our common project. We believe in Europe, and that is exactly the whole idea behind Europe, because Europe means that there are 500 million people who will be able to live a safe and good quality life. And whenever there comes a point when some country has problems, all the rest of the countries support it, and this is a joint project. It's almost like living in the same country.
Because the most important thing for a government is to create additional jobs. That one of the most important tasks, and here we must join our forces. We must concentrate our financial resources, and we must try and resolve this problem for the benefit of millions of our citizens, not only in our countries, but also in those countries that are organically linked with us through numerous economic links. Economy is global and not only local, and globalism has certain advantages, not only disadvantages. All of us are aspiring towards integration. Our European colleagues have been successful in that. We, together with Kazakhstan and Belarus, we are trying to resolve this problem in our own ways, and I hope that we will be able to also succeed in creating single economic space.